So welcome to the MITOHACKER podcast, and today I have a very special guest, a friend, a mentor, a teacher, Eyal Yanilov from Krav Maga Global. So welcome, Eyal.
Hello, everyone. Good
So
to be with you.
thank you. So probably it's not the weirdest questions in these times. Are you home or somewhere else?
Yes. I'm home. The truth is, I'm down in the guest unit, and so nobody will disturb me. And I will even take the phone and put everything on the muting. Yes.
Appreciate that. Thank you. So how did you manage the last almost 3 months? Like, I know you've been on quarantine and everything, but did you manage to train? Did you manage to do your stuff? Which is, I mean, you are known to be a leader from the front.
Yes. So, few things. One, I really enjoy myself. The truth is, I came back from Germany. I showed on a trip that was supposed to be in 5 countries.
Mm-hmm.
I was in only 2. Stayed there a little bit longer, eventually caught one of the last flights and reached home, of course, to quarantine. 2 weeks. And it was quite fun even. Nobody was nagging me.
Oh, that's great.
People were giving me food. Merav, my wife, was bringing me food. So, and I was training and working and doing some videos for the instructors on the instructors group, and doing the different types of training and eating well. And this small unit of ours has a small garden with it. So it was really much better than being in a hotel somewhere in 22 square meters. Which I usually am. That's my usual apartment. Yes, this 200 days a year, I'm in a small hotel room almost. Yes, sure. Almost all these days. Yes, so it was really great.
Now, most probably some of the viewers doesn't even know that what is Krav Maga. So,
Yes.
So could you explain to them what is Krav Maga and why is it unique?
Okay. So I'll try not to go on a life story here. The Krav Maga is an integrated system of how to prevent, de-escalate, or deal with violent confrontation. Mm-hmm. We are working in training on 4 directions: the physical, technical, tactical, and mental, obviously, meaning training the driver, the pilot, mm-hmm. the captain, and of course also the ship, the airplane, the car. We are in 3 main pillars, which is self-defense, mm-hmm. combat and fighting, and protection of others. And Krav Maga is obviously based on reality, on science, on the other hand. It's based on natural responses of the human being. It is with techniques mainly, that from there you are driving the principles, and then you use the principles to solve variations of the problems of the techniques and the problems you have practiced. And this is including, I said tactics before, but of course it's including strategies also. So strategy means not only being a hammer, not only to be punching things, but more of being a sophisticated Swiss knife or a toolbox, big toolbox, that whatever is coming, you're trying to deal with it at the earliest phase. And obviously, because of the training, you are getting mental capacities to deal with stress, to make decisions better. So this is definitely a holistic system.
It's pretty much basically a problem solving, right? Because there are many different problems, and you have to, as an instructor, give a reasonable solution to most of it. Probably not for everything, but most of it. So your background is engineering.
Correct.
So how did this help to implement these things into the system? Meaning
very simple revolution.
Mhm.
So the founder of the system was a student for 24 years, was a genius in giving the best solution for a specific problem. He was teaching his ways, and by the way, his ways became better and sharper during the time, maybe also because of me. But he was not teaching a system. Imi, his name was. Imi was teaching techniques. And my role, I was in the right place and time, and definitely with the, or probably with the right capabilities to turn it into a system. So to take what was his ideas and concepts and to pull them out from the techniques to show what are the principles, what are the concepts, and then make a system out of it and teach it like a system.
Mhm.
Some things went out, new things went in. When I say new things went in, meaning many more solutions for different problems. Of course, in the beginning, everything went through him. He was alive, now he's not. So everything went through him to be okay. But definitely I was using always his principles, his techniques, variations of the techniques and principles in order to solve new problems. So on the surface, definitely, Krav Maga is a problem-solving system. Deep under, it's an integrated system that is really dealing with all spheres and aspects of the violence. If you are good enough, you will succeed. If you're not good enough, either you go to jail or we bury you. Depends what you do or what you don't do.
How much of a threat was for Krav Maga to become traditional? And when I'm saying traditional, I'm saying in a bad way. Like in many systems, like they just repeat things because that was repeated for hundreds of years.
Yes. Okay, so Imi's nature was practical. That's one thing. So when you say traditional, there was a problem here. And the problem was in few directions. One direction was the outfit, the symbols. This is one thing. So this was taken care of starting in the 80s. So before that, Imi was in the military. So IDF is the origin where Krav Maga grew up, yes, and was, let's say, born. And there, soldiers were training. So how do you train soldiers? With fitness clothing, gym clothing, you can say in the beginning, and then you put the military clothing on them, and then the boots, and then the equipment, meaning the vests and the weapons. This is how you train soldiers. The less time you have, the more you'll work immediately with the military clothing and military equipment. When Imi went to the civil life, he adopted the judo uniforms quite early. In the beginning, he was teaching with military shirts that he gave to the guys, but later he adopted the judo uniforms, like sort of being a martial art. So he was searching his way, or let's say, making his way. At a later stage, and I was also in the front of this one, we decided to drop the judo gi, or the karate gi, whatever it looks like, and to do more like t-shirt, a sweatshirt. And we dropped the belts, and we did another system of the practitioner levels, graduate level, expert levels, which is in a way parallel to the military line of thinking of conscripts, soldiers, and then NCOs or early officers, and then the higher level officers. So the practitioners is like the soldiers, the graduate is like this NCOs, the officers are like the experts, and then there are the masters, like the generals that hopefully don't develop big stomach. And then this is the way. And when I look at the, at least Krav Maga organizations were divided or split. So, excuse me, there are different organizations now who are using still the belts and the uniforms, and they do what was done maybe in the 70s or 60s with mistakes. Because all the time they understand the problem, and because of this, they many times don't understand the solution. So this can happen. And But I can tell you that where we are is definitely we're trying to check and recheck all the time. Are we efficient on one hand? Are we supplying the need? So maybe I should say the opposite. Are we supplying the need? Do we take the problems and we see what the problems are and see if the solutions are really adequate to solve the problem? And then we're trying to find maybe a little bit better solution based on natural responses, based on situation, based on equipment that you may have, based on psychology of the attacker and of course of the defender protector. So it is constant work. And unfortunately, I can tell you that those who can do the work like this are not so many. It's common, yes. It's in every profession, in every society, they are the spearheads, yes. And those people are the leaders. And if they are good leaders, they got integrity, they don't do it for the money, they don't do it for the ego, they do it for the sake of doing it, of improving, then the pits are, or the holes or the traps are, let's say, usually overcome.
So basically what you outline is a systematic thinking, and it starts with understanding the problem, right?
Correct.
So our first meeting, you might not remember because I was just one person there, but anyway, so
you were younger with more hair.
I was much younger. Well, you were not, you were also much younger then, but so that was like 18 years ago.
Yeah.
But I was really impressed, seriously, with you were not teaching just a kick or a punch, but there was always the why. Why do you do this? And the why based on always outlining what is the problem and why there might be several solutions.
Yes.
You have to pick probably one. That was, and picking the one that also teachable and fits into the system. So there were many requirements. At the end, you end up with a movement. If you don't understand the why and the problem, it doesn't make probably sense, but then it makes sense.
It's just a dance. It's just dancing. If you don't know this and this, it's just dancing.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
So definitely understanding the problem and the why, which starts with what does he want? Yes. What's the motivation? What is he doing? What is natural action? What is natural behavior? What is natural response of the attacker? For example, if somebody has a knife in the hand, he will be doing like this most of the time attacks. For example, if this is the hold, yes, he will do this type of attack where the knife is from the pinky side, yes, attacking several times. That's his natural behavior because he wants to inflict maximum damage. There may be situations of a criminal who may be attacking and running away. But most of the time, when the aspect is, or the thinking is, he wants to inflict maximum damage, he will attack several times. So that's his natural behavior. And then his natural reaction. If you do something to him, what will happen? He will get hit, he will move in a certain way. Or he will defend himself. Or he will try to grab. So we are working from the easy stuff, from the very simple line and problem, to the much more complex and loaded problems.
Yes.
It's exactly like weightlifting. You want to be stronger, you have to load more, somehow. Yes. Yes. Or if you want to be better, you have to deprive something, especially in Krav Maga. So maybe we put you in an uncomfortable situation. Maybe we put you in a low light conditions. We put you in a problematic ground. We put you in a corner, which is good and bad to be in a corner. It's you're protected from 270 degrees, but on the other hand, you're limited. And if you make a bit of a bigger move, you hit your head to the wall and you faint because of hitting yourself and not somebody else hits you. So all these things are either we load you or we deprive capabilities and abilities. And so like this, we are making the person stronger and stronger. And again, mentally, first of all, and then physically, technically, tactically.
Now, you were pretty young when you got yourself into this trouble, right? Which is Krav Maga, because you could be an engineer. Let's put it this way. You could.
Yes, yes. The truth is like this. When I was about 10, I was sure that I'll be engineer.
Mm-hmm.
It was obvious. My father, who had a private high school, because of my request, brought one of his students to teach me electronics.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was, I don't know, 11 or so, I built a radio, I built a transformator, I built different things. I learned how to weld, and it was obvious. So the truth is, as a kid of a good Jewish family, I had three options. Either I'm a lawyer, a doctor, or engineer. Okay, so I chose to be engineer. It was very obvious for me. And even in the high school, I was focusing on physics and mathematics. This was the natural way for me. Mm-hmm. This was also what I was interested in. But Krav Maga, I started when I was close to 15. When I finished engineering, I decided I don't really want to go and work as an engineer. So let's go and do in another university a master's degree in engineering and join the special forces. So when I was about 26 years old, yes, a bit more, I joined the special forces with the anti-terror undercover units. Parallel to this, I was teaching the elite of the paratroopers, the reconnaissance there. Mm-hmm. So this was after I finished engineering. And like this, and at one point I decided, okay, I'll only do Krav Maga. I like it. I can influence people for the better, and I can make a living. Mm-hmm.
So how did the relationship with Imi went from the first meet to the, well, here is the material, and I ask you to start creating in the system, because that's a lot of trust from him, right? So, so how did this happen?
Yeah. So as we understand, it's dynamics between people. Mm-hmm. And Imi was the age of my grandparents. When I started, first time I saw him, I saw an old man with crooked face because he had the operations, facial nerve was cut because of his history, and an old man who came to have his 64th birthday. 4 days before I had my 15th birthday, 15th birthday, yes. And I started training with him on Saturdays in the same location. Every Saturday, about 3 or 4 hours, usually 3. And it was just a few months afterwards, so a little bit after the age of 50. So this was the beginning. And because I'm maybe in a way quite typical in Israeli, so I had to investigate. Why are we doing something? Uh-huh. And the relation went and became stronger as me as a young student and going to his home when I was very young, starting to spend time with him. The main change was when we spent time in the US. So we were 5 weeks there traveling around. We were 6 people. So probably then he saw the potential of what I am and what I can do. I was quite young. I was only 22 there, before engineering, just after military, something like this. Also, before that, on the Saturdays, when he was not feeling well, he had sometimes some health issues in a certain year. He was not feeling so well. So I was teaching instead of him to all the instructors and the experts, or preparing people to experts on the Saturdays, what he was doing. So like this, slowly, we became closer. And he saw that he can rely on me on some things. And then we started having more like even stronger professional side. I became his assistant. I think it was 82, and writing different materials. And then we went to make the pictures and the books. But only one came out. But currently, I'm working on another 3 even. on material that I was working with him. So hopefully this year there will be another book out. So we did the pictures together. I was writing, and because Imi couldn't write, it was not his strong side, let's say, and also Hebrew was not definitely not his good language. So I started writing the material, and after that I went with him and read it to him. And when I need to make corrections or adding, subtracting, so this was the let's say the beginning. And we spent so much time together at his home, in a coffee shop, with the pictures, with the material, with the written material. So the relations became stronger and stronger. And so from a student to a friend, and eventually like family. So from his family side, even they gave a letter or announcement that I was like a son to him. He didn't have his own children. It was the children of his wife.
So how much
he got married very late.
How much this relationship with him, I mean, the quality of the relationship affected that how you treat your own students? As an example.
Yes. Obviously, I mean, you are acting or you are behaving because of different sources and roots, yes? Because of what you study, because of, I know, in yoga they said before, because of previous reincarnations, yes? Because of the teachers, mainly because of the role models, how the role models in your life shaped your nature, shaped your behavior. If you had any traumatic experiences that didn't really happen. So in my family, as I said before, my father was a headmaster of a high school. He was an exceptional teacher. I saw him was also an example, the way he was treating the family, his parents, his students, his kids, his wife, my mother. My uncle, my aunt are also teachers and, very high level in the education system where they were working. And Amy, obviously. So I think altogether, the understanding that you are a human being, you can make mistakes. And of course, Amy also made mistakes. You can even say that he was improving Krav Maga during the years, obviously. He was proving himself. So if he was improving himself and he was improving techniques, so before that, the techniques were not the best.
Sure.
But he made them better. So before that, you can say he was making mistakes. And sometimes he was making mistakes, by the way. And you know that Krav Maga solutions came sometimes because people died. And there was a need to make solution. Sometimes there was need to make a change because people got hurt. For example, especially in the late 80s, in the first Intifada, what's called the riots and the terrorist attacks. So regarding my teaching, it's definitely combination of all. And in a way, definitely the direction that Imi was setting of here is why we do it. Here is what we do. Here is why we do it. And although in his times there were less explanations and less knowledge, now these days much more, still he bore this child, Krav Maga, this kid, and took it to the kindergarten and educated him and took it to the elementary school. And okay, with us it's, let's say, PhD in the university. But definitely his way and definitely influenced me the way of treating with dignity and integrity the students, and also requiring from them similar stuff, integrity, for example.
Sure. So when we talk about self-defense,
yes,
people can imagine like a grown man could probably do something. But there comes the big questions. What about kids? What about women? What about elders? So let's start with the elders. So where the elder can, well, not fight against, but what can they do against something that is naturally violent and risky for the structure, and because probably they are weaker than the opponent.
Yes. Okay. So when we talk about specific groups, as you said, I would like to enlarge the subject for a moment. We can say that we have, exactly like you said, kids, women, elderly people, but we also have special units, special forces. Each of these people have their plus and minuses, the equipment, the risk analysis, what are they going to face, why are they going to face it, who is going to be the attacker. So if you take an older person, if I would take Imi, for example, or other martial artists or fighters or boxers, when they reach the age of 75, they can still fight. Yes? But when you take a person who has never really dealt with violence and has been sitting most of his life at work, not being physical, for example, not dealing with violence, not working in the farm, not taming horses, and not preparing a meat. Yes. So who do you have? You have people who are very much remote from physical actions, even, and definitely physical and violent conflicts.
Sure.
Except when you look at kids, they are not yet there. Adults, maybe they have not been there, or they are no longer there. So when you look at, let's go on the elderly people, what's the risks? What are the risks? And what are the risks of getting hurt? Yes. So if you look at statistics in the Western world, EU, developed countries, Hungary included, Czech Republic included, you have between 5 to 15 times more suicide than homicides. It's amazing. Practically, we should teach the people how to defend themselves against the gun, that they are putting the gun to their heads, or a knife to themselves, or pills. So we understand that these things are happening. So why these things are happening? They're happening because of the stress, because of pains, because of abilities, because of a mal or bad mental preparation. Of course, we will all, if we behave, yes, we will all get old. We will all suffer. Maybe most of us will be in diapers, yes. Many of us will be in a situation that we have pain. And what we will do in this pain? Can we overcome the pain? Can we ignore the pain? Can we overcome the stress? So when we talk about problems of the elderly, we can look at the problems that are coming from different directions. And violence or fraud or pain in the body are just very common, several directions. So definitely the first thing to understand is to think about prevention. So if you are walking very low, if you're not looking around, if you have a bag, if you have jewelry on you, if you go to the bank and take cash, out and people see this, if you do not have inspection, I'll call this the one in the door that you can see.
People, yeah.
Yeah. If you do not have a good lock on your door, if you just open, if you are mentally not right, then definitely a huge problem. So if you don't understand the risks and the problems, definitely it's a huge problem. So when we think about analyzing the danger, we see the first thing you should have the knowledge and the experience, first two things. Then you need to be aware of things. Are you open with your senses? Are you aware? And then we need to think about how can we do, what we can do in order to prevent. So a door, a good lock on the door is a preventive skill. Going with the cane and walking tall is preventive. Your body language says, better don't mess with me, go and mess with somebody else. Of course, 5 people will feel comfortable messing with you. If you're an old person, even if you're walking tall. But 1 person will not, or maybe 2 will not. And if you hold the cane, the walking cane, in a certain way, you can really use it very efficiently to defend, attack, do preemptive attacks. Definitely. So there is a lot to learn. Yes. So if you say, I'm a cook, there's a lot to learn to become a good cook, right? A chef. Mm-hmm. If you say, I'm a teacher, there's a lot to learn about being a teacher. If you say, I'm a mechanic, a car mechanic, there's a lot to learn about to be a car mechanic. Any profession. There's also a lot to learn about how do I behave and act and react. A lot to learn about self-defense and about personal protection, mm-hmm. and about different types of measures. And there's also a lot to learn about educating kids, your own kids. Mm-hmm. Did you learn? Did you focus on it? Did you do something except of just making the kid? Okay, so yes. A lot to learn.
So that was mainly a bigger perspective, and not just dealing individually with the age groups or the gender groups, but yes. more like a general approach. Okay, so correct. I got it. So you also mentioned mental training.
Yes.
So why do you find very important mental training from the SWAT units, let's say, to the yes. individual?
Yes. By the way, we just came out with a book about mental training. Yes. Combat mindset and fighting stress, mental conditioning. Mm-hmm. With the partner Ole. Boy, he's a professor in university and member of special forces. He was for many years. As I said before, this is the body. Yes, that's the body. Who is giving the orders? So I tell you, Peter, please raise your hand.
Which one? Both?
Yes, exactly. Raise your hand. Great. Okay, you are like Jewish person, good Jewish person. You answer a question with a question. Of course. Okay. Yes. Okay. But who gave the order? I gave the outside order. I created the need, even just was a request. Mm-hmm. Yes. But who was giving the order there with you? The head, the mental. Yes. Mm-hmm. So I said before, this is the car, that's a driver. So imagine you have a Lamborghini or Ferrari or just a nice Volvo with many horsepower and good suspension and brakes. Yes. And you start accelerating. And if the driver is an idiot driver, sooner or later, without the experience and the knowledge and the stupidity, the car will crash. Mm-hmm. Yes. And the pilot is the same. What do we do? When do we do it? Why we do it? How we do it? How to coordinate all the actions and the do's. Yes. So this is really the mental aspect. So then we are coming to something similar like dealing with stress. So we say like this, in reality, where you can look at the human body as sort of a machine, yes? And this machine behaves in a certain manner, this integrated machine, yes? Driver and car is behaving in a certain manner during stressful situations. Fight, flight as example. And then when you are under stress, the logical thinking is damaged because of the different processes in the brain and which parts are working and which parts are not working. Which parts are even blocked almost completely. So the neocortex is completely blocked. So you cannot make logical calculations and logical decisions. Why? Because it has to work on system 1, on the very fast system that will run fast, fight hard and strong, and feel no pain. That's FF, fight, flight, freeze, yes, of FFA. Be strong, be fast, feel no pain. Like this, you can overcome the danger. You can overcome, or you become food. This is ancient times. This is the animals. Either you survive or you become food. This is the idea. And this is stress. This is what stress is causing you. But in other situations where you do not need to fight, really at the moment, you can pause, you can think about things. You've got 50 emails, 25 SMS, text messages. The boss is calling you at the moment, and the wife sent you a video message that she needs to do something at the moment, or the husband is sending you a message or calling you at the moment, the kid has fever 38.5, what to do? And so many things to do, and you have little resources. So what happens? You go into stress mode. And then there's no fight. It's not life and death at the moment. Mm-hmm. Yes. How to deal with this stress? How to calm it down? So this is all mental training. Mm-hmm. And I just took an example. Oh, and then there's another stress that is coming from social, your position, mm-hmm. your place in the hierarchy. Two young people are arguing, yes, in the pub because of a girl. What is it? Okay. Or one person touches the other person on the street, or somebody blocks your way with a car, or took your parking place, or this road rage type of situation. This is not life and death, but what happens? Stress, and the stress logic is being cut, or let's say hindered, and the behavior is as if somebody is really trying to kill me. And it's not true. Mm-hmm. So in the mental training is going in three directions. One is the combat mindset. So developing the courage, first of all. Even 2005 years ago, Greek philosophers said, courage is number one. Yes, quality, character. Mm-hmm. The combat mindset is, first of all, the courage, determination, aggression, enthusiasm, personal control, all these things. Mm-hmm. The second thing is focusing, concentration, channeling all the resources to do the mission that we have. And we have 100 missions, okay, chop it, divide it, choose what is more necessary, what's less necessary, what is more immediate, what is more burning issue. And then the last is relaxation. And together we say also diffusing of destructive emotions. Mm-hmm. These are things like fear, anxiety, hate, anger, frustration. And all these emotions are depleting us from our mental energy, from mental resources. So I don't have the ability to channel all the resources because they are spread out and they are depleted because I'm angry. Okay. And again, I'm angry because of what?
Yes. And how much, so as we are getting older, so how much you focus on breathing as one of those can be implemented in any of those three you mentioned.
Yes.
But also visualization.
Yes. So there are different, when we talked about the different subjects, there are different tools to improve. So breathing is very strong, visualization is very strong, self-talk. There are the three, you can say, three elements that are related to body, speech, mind. Mm-hmm. Body with the breathing or with the very slow actions that you are very focusing or even don't move the body at all. The breathing, which is very much connected also to the self-talk, the internal monologue. And the visualization is very much connected with the mind, the picture that is in the mind, because the eye is only a device that brain sees. Mm-hmm. So whether it's an outside picture or an internally generated picture, these are all very strong tools. So the truth is, we should start developing these tools and this ability to work with these tools with the children.
Mm-hmm.
Teach them breathing techniques, focusing techniques, correct self-talk techniques. Imagine you say, I will never make it. I cannot do it. I will fail. So what are the chances of starting even?
Sure.
What are the chances of doing something? So your thoughts are your words. Mm-hmm. So if you say something, it will change your mindset. Mm-hmm. So the breathing is very much related to the mental state. You relax your breathing, control your breathing, you control and relax your mental state. Not all the time I should have a relaxed mental state. Sometimes I should have a very aggressive, active, destructive mental state. I'm a predator sometimes. So then I will not do and be a relaxed person and focus on the breathing. No, I'll do like this. And even if I'll do like this, maybe I'll frighten the other person. He would not like to fight with something crazy like me.
And in this case, probably you do it on purpose. So your mental state changing from the behavior, because we know that also happening vice versa, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Sure.
And one more thing, by the way, is the posture.
Mm-hmm.
The posture, the body language, the position is also changing your mental state. And being experiments like this, even with the pencil here, that you are biting a person for pencil for 20, 30 seconds, you're so happy. Yes. You don't need drink. You don't need the alcohol. You don't need the drugs. You only need the pencil. Put it in between your teeth and you are happy. Amazing. So cheap.
Yes, but also I saw research when, people were just posturing in mirror, and then they measured the testosterone before and after, and the testosterone level went up just from posturing like a gorilla in the mirror. So
like 20% even.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty crazy.
Yes.
So as I listen to you, and I try to listen you like I don't know you, which is very difficult for me, to be honest. But I tried that. And so when I listen as an ear of an outsider, I start to feel like it's a lot more than a self-defense. You are talking about a lifestyle. You are talking about a way of thinking.
Sure.
So when did you start to feel like it's actually what you are teaching? It has, first of all, a life application. Second of all, it became a lifestyle.
Yes. So there's an issue about when I look backwards on the lifestyle. It started when I started training. Things started to change. Later, when I was teaching the special forces or teaching the civilians in Israel especially, in the beginning it was pure system of self-defense and fighting. A little bit after that, or obviously the personal protection and protection of others, the vehicle protection. So it was about this. And during these days, from time to time, people would come and say, Krav Maga saved my life. Or Krav Maga saved other people's lives because we dealt with a terrorist. So when you're in this framework of the military, the special forces, even the Israeli civilians, the teenagers, and I never really taught much kids, but early men who, adulthood, later adulthood and teenagers. In Israel, in these times that we grew up, was the different wars, obviously, and fighting terrorism. So definitely as a tool for survival or a tool for self-defense. But very quickly, quite early even, I would see few things. So when I was, let's say, teenagers, but definitely in the early 20s. One is the confidence. And you're not afraid, you're not worried that somebody will put you down, humiliate you. You don't care about this. It doesn't influence you. And I had different incidents like this that maybe other person would have fought or get into to a fight. And for me, it was nothing. Okay, you don't want to move your car, don't move your car. I'll be waiting in my air-conditioned car. Yes. So something like this. And with the time, of training, you also understand that the position of yours, the movement that you do, the shout that you do, everything came from the physical, influenced more and more mentally on the person. Except of this, from very young age, I've been interested in yoga and meditation. And Imi was also, I mean, again, he was much older than me, and he was definitely with visualizing techniques. Imi could think about most of his age, the years that I was with him. He would think and didn't have to do in order to give you an answer or give you a solution on a problem that he didn't see before. So he would think about it. I would go to his room. He would lie in his bed. We would talk. He would close his eyes. At least one eye it could close. The other one he couldn't close so well. And visualize and think. And we will talk about his solution. So he was an example on this one also. And then later in life, the truth is, especially when I started teaching women in Israel, and when I started teaching outside Israel. So this was, let's say, in the 80s, towards the late 80s. People would come and say to me, Krav Maga changed my life. So instead of Krav Maga saved my life, Krav Maga changed my life. And then you understand, really, it's a tool to improve yourself, to make your life better. And when they say it changed my life, they meant for the better, by becoming more efficient human being, more better version of myself.
But also the physical education part, because that comes with it, right? So we were talking about mental, and that's very important, but there's also the physical education part. And
I would like to have a car with many horsepowers.
Yes. So basically, when I look around, in many other systems, I see people who are already like second degree, third degree, and higher. Well, they start to get rounder and rounder. I'm trying to be very polite to other people.
Yes.
But they show unfit behavior.
Yes.
Now, KMG is not known for that. Let's put it this way.
Correct.
So you yourself doing a lot of physical education.
Yes.
You're training, namely, right?
Yes.
So what is the proper training for Krav Maga besides Krav Maga?
Yes. Okay, so we need to make the body a better machine, a better car. Yes. So of course, you need to take what do you do with your car? I mean, car is not a body. Yes, it's not a human body, or like a human body completely. But what do you do with your car? Yes, especially those that are really enthusiastic about the cars. So you clean it, but still it's the same car. So we can wash ourselves, we can do deodorant, some aftershave, still full of shit inside, yes? Exactly. So we are human beings. So what do we eat? How do we treat our body as a machine? And with this, would I like to put nicer paint? Is one thing. But what's above the skin is less important than what the skin and below the skin. So definitely to improve our physical capabilities, education, coordination, balance, mobility, power, strength, explosiveness. These are all things that make us a better machine. So what will happen in older days, if we do not eat well, if we don't exercise, obviously we will be deteriorating much faster and suffer much more. And then before we are very old, when we are reasonable, if we don't have a good machine, we will not be able to defend well and counterattack well. Okay. So yes, there's the commander, but there's definitely the vehicle. So what I do is I train on the physical levels, on the technical level, mental and tactical, strategic. So I'm trying to do something which is very much holistic on that sense. When we look at the physical side, the ground force method, for example, which I was lucky enough to contribute, and you were lucky enough to make huge system from that. With that, it's an excellent tool. Just an example, or kettlebell, or weightlifting, and the mobility and the gymnastics, and all these things are so good to improve the machine. And you know what Stalin said? Stalin said, "No man, no problem." So you cannot differentiate between the mind and the body unless you use Stalin's style. That's it. So it's inseparable. It's only separable in one way. Yes. So we need to work on the body for sure. Mm-hmm. And we are using when you look at the KMG training, so we encourage the people to do by themselves, definitely. And in the lesson itself, we are using as much as possible integration between the technical and the physical side. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. So if we say, okay, let's do push-ups, for example, strength exercises, let's combine push-ups with striking the ground, or push-ups with hitting backwards. Let's do sit-ups with punches, and let's have a partner who is holding pads for us, and we're doing sit-ups, and we are attacking the sit-ups, the pads while we do sit-ups, not just to do sit-ups. Mm-hmm. So in the beginning, the students need to know how to do good sit-ups by themselves. Be very technically, very correct. Talk about squats or sit-ups or hinges or whatever. Yes, squats. And with the time, we will try to integrate as much as possible and work with the partner together. We do push-ups with the partner, to trust the partner, to move the partner. It's the body. Yes, it's a physical body, not just a weight. So
you mentioned you spend about 200 or more days out of Israel, or out of your home, basically.
Yes, except 2020, which is
exactly. Exactly. So what is your drive?
I don't have a driver, so I have to have my own drive. And I think the drive is in different directions. One, to spread this knowledge. Mm-hmm. And in Hebrew, there's a saying, if you save one soul, like saving the whole world. So this is improving, yes, this is saving, improving, giving people the capabilities, pushing people forward, creating a better community. And then also my drive is mental active. I would like to be active. I would like to do things. I would like to see products. I would like to see product in that sense is instructors getting better. Product is students getting better. Product is organization getting stronger. Product is manuals that are improved. Product that's high-level instructors who are thinking better and improving by themselves what we gave them. So the system, the organization, the community, these are my drives, main drives. Yes. Also, I have to feed the family, so I have to work.
So I guess if this is a mission for you and not really like a work, which doesn't seem like.
Yeah, I enjoy myself.
Then you will never retire, it seems, right?
Correct. I will never retire.
I just wanted to make sure as your student that we will not lose you. That's it. That was a very selfish question.
Yes. But you know what? Maybe I'll go and sit somewhere under some palm trees, eat a coconut, and drink some papaya juice. And people will come. I'll not be retired. I'll still be teaching, but where I want.
Okay. All right. So I wish you good luck for that.
Yes.
And first of all, thank you very much for your time.
Pleasure.
I really appreciate it. And I'm glad you are resting finally, because I know your schedule is kind of hectic.
Yes.
It's good to see you rested. So, and I hope soon we're going to meet. So again,
Yes.
thank you very much.
Pleasure. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.